position, sitting or lying down, and allow your body to settle completely. Let your hands rest gently, your feet supported or relaxed, and take a slow, deep breath in, feeling your lungs expand fully. As you exhale, release any tension, tightness, or effort you have been holding. Take another deliberate breath, and as you exhale, allow your awareness to turn inward, toward your body, your breath, and the sensations of this present moment. Close your eyes softly, letting the external world fade slightly as your inner awareness deepens. Today, you will explore the distinction between emotional impulses and intentional action. You will learn to observe emotions like fear, doubt, and anxiety without letting them dictate your behavior, allowing deliberate, empowered action to emerge naturally. Begin by bringing attention to your body. Notice any areas of tension, tightness, or discomfort. Perhaps your shoulders are tight, your chest feels heavy, or your stomach is fluttery. These sensations often accompany emotional impulses, particularly those related to procrastination, self-doubt, or fear. Simply observe without judgment, allowing awareness to settle on these signals and noticing their presence, intensity, and movement. Now, bring attention to your breath. Observe its natural rhythm as it enters and leaves your body. Perhaps your breath becomes shallow, rapid, or uneven when thinking about tasks, responsibilities, or challenging decisions. Simply notice this pattern, understanding that breath reflects your nervous system state and provides a bridge between emotions and deliberate action. Begin by recalling a task, goal, or decision that you have been avoiding or delaying. Bring it gently into your mind without judgment or criticism. Notice the thoughts, feelings, and impulses that arise. Perhaps you feel hesitation, tension, doubt, or fear. Observe these responses as emotional signals rather than directives. Recognize that emotions are informative, not controlling. Visualize the emotional impulses as waves rising within you. Fear, doubt, anxiety, or frustration may swell and ebb, creating a sense of urgency or pressure to act in a certain way, avoid, or delay. Instead of reacting automatically, notice these impulses, acknowledge them, and create mental space between the feeling and the action. Label each emotion gently. This is fear. This is doubt. This is frustration. Numbing the emotion reduces its automatic influence and creates a sense of separation, allowing conscious choice to guide your behavior. Imagine now a gentle pause between noticing an emotion and taking action. This pause is a powerful moment of freedom, a space where you can observe the emotional impulse without being swept away by it. In this space, you can consider your goals, values, and intentions, and choose an action that aligns with what you truly want to accomplish. Bring attention to the thoughts that accompany emotional impulses. Perhaps they are critical, doubtful, or self-judging. I can't do this. I'm not ready. This is too hard. Observe each thought without judgment, understanding that thoughts are separate from deliberate action and can be used as information rather than commands. Now, practice creating a clear distinction between emotional impulses and intended actions. Imagine yourself standing at a point of choice. Emotional impulses rise like waves, but your attention is anchored in your goals, values, and intentional behavior. Notice how you can observe the waves without being controlled by them, allowing intentional action to guide your response. Visualize a specific task or responsibility that has triggered procrastination or hesitation in the past. Notice the emotional impulses that arise: fear, self-doubt, or discomfort. Instead of reacting automatically, pause and label the emotion. Observe the sensations in your body and allow a space to consider deliberate action. Then, imagine taking a small, intentional step, opening a document, writing a sentence, or making a phone call. Notice how even a small act of deliberate action shifts energy, reduces tension, and builds momentum, reinforcing your ability to act despite emotional impulses. Bring awareness now to the interplay between your mind, body, and emotions. Notice how emotional impulses create physical sensations: tension in the chest, knots in the stomach, or shallow breathing. Observe these signals as informative, providing insight into your internal state, rather than allowing them to dictate action. Anchor yourself in deliberate breath and bodily awareness to reinforce separation between emotion and action. Imagine now a scenario where fear or doubt might typically prevent action. Visualize observing the emotion fully, noticing the sensations, labeling the feeling, and then choosing a deliberate response aligned with your intentions. Notice how this practice builds confidence, reduces procrastination, and strengthens the habit of intentional action over automatic reaction. Practice now using your breath as an anchor. Inhale clarity, focus, and empowerment. Exhale tension, doubt, and the urgency of emotional impulses. Repeat this cycle, allowing each breath to reinforce your capacity to separate emotion from action, creating a state of calm, clarity, and deliberate momentum. Bring attention to the habitual patterns that may arise when emotions are strong. Perhaps you have a tendency to delay, distract, or overthink when fear or doubt emerges. Observe these patterns without judgment, recognizing them as signals from your emotional system rather than commands. Label them gently and return your focus to deliberate action, reinforcing conscious choice over automatic reaction. Visualize a gentle, guiding light of awareness within you, illuminating emotional impulses without extinguishing them. See the light softening tension, clarifying thoughts, and strengthening your ability to act intentionally. With each breath, allow this light to expand, reinforcing the separation between emotion and action, and supporting deliberate, empowered behavior. Now imagine a conversation between your emotional impulses and your intentional self. Observe the emotions expressing concern, fear, or hesitation, and acknowledge their presence. I see you. I understand you are here to protect or signal. Then, gently assert your choice. I notice your message, and I choose deliberate action aligned with my goals. Observe the sense of agency, clarity, and empowerment that emerges from this dialogue. Bring attention now to the subtle cues of emotional impulses in daily life. Perhaps tension, racing thoughts, or bodily discomfort signals the rise of fear or doubt. Observe these signals early, label them, and respond with deliberate action. Notice how each moment of recognition and conscious response strengthens your capacity to act intentionally despite emotional pressure. Visualize a timeline of tasks and decisions in your life. Notice the points where emotional impulses influenced procrastination, hesitation, or self-sabotage. Observe how labeling emotions, creating mental space, and taking deliberate steps transforms the timeline into one of momentum, confidence, and intentional achievement. Imagine now a scenario where multiple emotions arise simultaneously: fear, doubt, and frustration, perhaps competing for attention. Observe each emotion, labeling them individually, noticing where they reside in your body, and allowing space for them to exist without dictating action. Then, visualize choosing a deliberate action, taking one small step aligned with your intentions, and noticing the clarity and momentum that follows. Bring awareness now to the cumulative effect of these practices. Each act of observing, labeling, and responding deliberately reduces the automatic control of emotional impulses, strengthens confidence, and fosters habitual intentional action. Notice how mental clarity, emotional regulation, and bodily awareness integrate to support consistent, empowered behavior. Practice now imagining future tasks or challenges. Visualize emotional impulses arising as usual, but see yourself pausing, labeling, and taking deliberate steps aligned with your goals. Notice how this approach transforms fear and doubt into guides rather than barriers, reinforcing a sense of mastery and self-trust. Bring attention to the physical sensations associated with empowered action. Perhaps your body feels lighter, your chest opens, and your breath deepens. Observe the alignment of mind, body, and emotions as you act intentionally, integrating clarity, courage, and momentum into your nervous system. Now, imagine reinforcing this habit of separating action from emotion over time. Visualize each deliberate step, each recognition of emotional impulse, each small act of empowered action as threads weaving a pattern of intentional, confident, and resilient behavior. Notice how momentum grows, procrastination diminishes, and self-sabotage loses its automatic influence. Bring attention to self-compassion as an integral part of this practice. Recognize that emotional impulses are natural, and that responding deliberately is a skill strengthened through consistent awareness and action. Offer yourself understanding and encouragement. I notice my emotions, and I act intentionally. I am learning to respond thoughtfully, even when impulses arise. I trust my capacity for deliberate action. Visualize now a gentle light of integration, spreading through your mind, body, and emotions. This light represents the separation of emotional impulses from intentional action, illuminating patterns, softening tension, and strengthening confidence. Each breath deepens the integration, reinforcing deliberate, empowered behavior. Bring awareness to your inner dialogue. Notice self-critical or anxious thoughts triggered by emotions. Label them as fear or doubt. Acknowledge their presence and replace them with intentional affirmations. I am aware of my emotions. I act deliberately despite fear or doubt. as this practice embeds in your nervous system. Now visualize a day in your life in which tasks and challenges arise. See emotional impulses emerge as usual, but observe yourself pausing, labeling, and taking deliberate steps aligned with your goals. Notice how clarity, momentum, and confidence accumulate throughout the day, transforming habitual procrastination into consistent, intentional action. Bring attention once more to your breath. Inhale clarity, focus, and deliberate energy. Exhale tension, doubt, and reactive impulses. Repeat this cycle, feeling your mind, body, and emotions integrate in a state of calm, clarity, and empowered action. Imagine now carrying this practice into every task, decision, and challenge, observing emotional impulses without being controlled by them, and responding with intention and awareness. Notice the sense of mastery, resilience, and freedom that emerges from this integration. Slowly begin to bring awareness back to your surroundings. Notice the surface beneath you, the sensations in your body, and the rhythm of your breath. Gently wiggle your fingers and toes. Stretch softly if desired. And when ready, open your eyes, carrying with you the ability to observe emotional impulses, create space, and act intentionally. You have begun to separate action from emotion, allowing fear, doubt, and anxiety to inform without controlling your behavior. Each moment of mindful observation, labeling, and deliberate action strengthens your capacity to act consistently, reduce procrastination, and transform self-sabotage into empowered, intentional behavior.